Hey there, Friday Night Movie fans. We have been at All-Star Comic-Con all day yesterday, and we'll be there again today. And we're going to drop some of the amazing mini episodes that we have recorded there with incredible guests and awesome members of the community that have dropped by the Friday Night Movie booth. If you hear this today, come by Sheridan Tyson's Corner, table 25. Come pod with us. This episode that you're about to hear, the first one we're going to drop is, of course, with our dear friends, the Take Two podcast. Brian Stever, who's also there at All-Star at the CW booth, came by, sat with us for a full episode of Friday Night Movie. We had so much fun doing the show in person, and sit back and enjoy, and make sure to check out the Take Two podcast and all of the amazing, amazing stuff that they do. Enjoy. Here we are, the Friday Night Movie podcast. We have a legend of the podcasting industry, especially in Washington, D.C.
Take that.
The great Brian Stever. Stever, right? I pronounced it right?
You do.
The great Brian Stever of the Take Two podcast, who you guys know because we talk about him all the time. We reference all of their different shows, and Brian has been a guest before. And we're gonna do some Friday Night Movie fun with Brian here. So you are here representing Take Two, also as a member of the CW family, correct?
We are, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your setup here.
This is our third year here because they kind of had like their starter con, and then they switched it. And so this is year 2 for All-Star, but the first one, so we're here for all of them. So we know the guys. Well, one of my co-hosts, Tony, knows the guy, Kevin.
Yeah.
Real well. But yeah, so CW, we're linked up with their official podcast in the DC area, CW. So they say, come sit at our booth, broadcast, interview all those CW celebs that they have. And we said, twist our arm.
We'll come and hang out and podcast for a day. So let's start with the CW.
Okay.
Because you guys cover every show, right? Basically, you cover every show every week. And Becky and I are massive Riverdale fans.
All right.
Are you a Riverdale fan?
No.
Oh, you're not part of the Riverdale. Which shows do you cover?
Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Black Lightning. That's all of them?
Yeah. Okay. So,
yeah.
What?
And All American.
Comic book.
Comic book ones, and then All American, which is sports.
Oh, that's like the football one.
The football one,
so what you're saying is you should do Riverdale because it was a comic book.
Yeah.
The Archie.
I've heard great things. I don't not
probably
like it.
Just
I've just
from
never
Shy
seen
and
it.
Becky.
Yeah,
But think about how many shows he's got to watch per week.
I can't believe how much I do. That's intense.
It has been intense. When we signed on with them to do it, we didn't realize how often you'll miss a week. So if you're watching Riverdale, you might miss this week's. No big, you'll catch up later. But with our show, now we have to watch it every week. And so it's gotten interesting.
It's like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is. And then we also promised them to produce, we have to recap at least 9 episodes, or 9 different shows by Saturday.
Oh my God.
So have it all recorded throughout the week. I put it all together, music, blah, 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 and then have that dropped by Saturday morning. So we're like, oh, we bit off way more than we can chew.
This is a lot.
But because at first we were like, yeah, we watch those shows, and then you forget, well, sometimes you might wait like 3 eps and then binge those,
and then binge just those.
catch them up.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so now you got to catch them week per week. Okay, so which of the shows do you have the most fun? Now, a few years you've been doing this. Which is the show that you have the most fun covering still?
I really liked All American this season because it was brand new. And so everyone's getting into
Now,
it.
these are big Friday Night Lights fans. How does All American compare to Friday Night Lights?
It's similar. It's less football, more culture, because they're talking about the kids from the inner streets, and then he moves to Beverly Hills, and now he's dealing with the culture he brings from there. It's CW, so they touch on all of that stuff now. And this checks every single box. So, but what blows my mind is all these kids are in high school and their bodies are ripped. I'm like, why
Yeah,
did these kids get these abs? I'm 37.
Well,
I'm still trying to get these
I
abs.
think the actors are not actually in high school, I'm assuming. Aren't these actors like 20-year-olds?
They're probably pushing it. Don't ruin this for me, Lily.
But no, I'm also saying that like being 20, it's sort of like you've gone through puberty, yet you don't have like slow metabolism.
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect age to be a ripped fake teenager.
I've heard Riverdale's great. I haven't seen any of it. I heard the finale was insane.
I concur.
Oh, I haven't seen
I
it
haven't
yet.
seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been saving it. Maybe we'll watch it. Maybe we'll try to catch up on it tomorrow or something. Oh,
okay.
we won't have time. Maybe
no.
late tonight.
I mean, at this point, I don't even know if I'm making it to the ending of All-Star today.
It's
I'm about
been
to,
a
like,
long
crawl
day.
under the table and take a nap.
But we have the room for. Okay, so we're gonna introduce you. You're a thespian, so
Okay.
you've probably done improv, right? So
Little
this
bit,
is
yeah.
essentially an improv game. It's the Friday Night Movie Home Edition.
Okay.
You're gonna take a bit card.
Okay.
And then, depending on that bit card, I'm going to instruct you to take a topic card. Maybe we'll even go crazy and do a double topic, because for a pro like Brian,
Yeah,
I think we
He
could
can
really
handle it.
he can handle it. So go forth, take a card from the bit pile.
I'll play as long as when we're done we play a game from our show.
Oh, that would be
yeah.
incredible.
That would
It's
be
a
Amazing.
very simple,
100%
opinionated game.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
I got lots of opinions
100%.
here.
So I take one of these guys. Okay. I don't know what this is at all.
That's what we'll tell you.
No, you can tell
Do I
us.
show the crowd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's
That's
a good one.
Jack of Spades.
Yeah, okay.
You got Rex RX. Becky, would you since you invented Rex RX,
I
how
did
about you
invent it.
explain what it is?
So,
does it matter?
First explain
let's
it.
explain. So Rex RX is when someone in your life, or maybe perhaps even yourself, you're suffering from something. It could be the flu, it could be a broken heart, it could be a little bout of stress, and you need a recommendation of what show to watch to soothe that specific ailment.
Okay.
So what we might do is I might say, hey, you know, guys, I threw my back out. I'm not too mobile these days. I'm spending a lot of time at home. What should I watch while my back is recovering?
Because a show for a back injury, that's
Yeah.
different than a show for a flu.
Very
Or a
different.
surgery recovery.
Or wisdom teeth, or
Exactly.
getting your wisdom removed,
Wisdom
or
teeth, you're all drugged up.
you know,
And if you know our family well, you know that we've had every sick day possible.
every type of
Okay.
sickness. So,
Got
and then right. So that's Rex RX.
We're like hypochondriacs, but that deserve to be worried that they're sick all the time.
Okay.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
we should give a scenario.
Would you have a scenario or someone you know?
No, I want give it.
Okay, so
We're
yeah.
gonna give him a
Yeah.
scenario.
All right, we're gonna take a topic, okay? Not so guilty pleasures, okay? So you're gonna have to prescribe, okay, a not so guilty pleasure to, I'm gonna think of a person from the Take Two universe. I know
Okay.
Craig really wanted to be here today, but he had family obligations surrounding his birthday.
Okay.
So let's say like Craig, he can't be here today.
Yeah.
He's at all these family birthday parties, but to soothe his soul, he's gotta sneak away and watch a show to make him feel better.
Okay.
What not so guilty pleasure would you recommend, would you prescribe to Craig to get through these 2 days where he is not hanging out with all of us at All-Star Comic-Con?
We gotta cheer him up.
Yeah, we gotta cheer him up. We gotta make him feel better. We gotta make him feel
At
loved.
birthday party.
They're his own birthday party, but he'd
Yeah.
rather be here. We know he'd rather be here.
This is true. He would rather be here. So I'm trying to think of a party-themed thing where it's a party-style movie that would cheer
Animal
him
House.
up. Yeah, no, I like Animal House. I like that call. Let's go a little, because Craigie likes really off the cuff, so we'll take Animal House but bring it a little closer and go with Van Wilder.
Oh,
amazing.
perfect.
See,
Perfect.
the doctor is in.
Yes.
And I raise you a animal.
Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and
That-
gentlemen,
That's how
Doc-
it's done.
Dr. Brian Stever is here.
I like this game.
He has, I mean, that's crushed it. That's a mic
Yeah.
drop right there. That's incredible. So
Van Wilder will put anybody in a good mood.
you have to
Van
talk
Wilder will put anybody in a
you
good
have
mood.
to talk into the
But don't
microphone,
shout
Lily.
into the microphone.
Just talk, get
Just
close
talk
and
like
talk
a normal,
Oh my God, I feel like I'm
decibel.
in your show.
Yes. You have to get near it.
I just did.
You're shouting now, Fanya. Stop
You don't
shouting.
even have
That-
headphones in. You don't
But
know if I'm
sitting
shouting.
next
Now
to
you're
you,
fine.
and
You have
I
to
can-
remember about a fist away, because it's
and
very
then-
noisy here.
And then just speak in a buttery voice.
Becky sounds fine. Brian sounds fine.
If you guys remember, I gave a review of this show. No, you guys keep talking.
Okay.
And the thing I love the absolute most is you can feel like you're part of their family when they argue. I'm so in right now. This is great.
Oh yeah, this is exactly, and this is in person. So this isn't even when we're
feistier.
muting. This is when we mute each other.
Yeah, when Shai likes to like punish mute me.
Yeah,
like
well,
my punish mute.
On Skype you can. I just learned how to do it to deal with Becky.
Sometimes
So
he just
okay,
mutes me.
let's play another game here. We're, by the way, Brian has I would say corrupted the Friday Night Movie team here. We're partying a little bit here. You guys do a segment called What's in the Glass. Right now, what's in the glass is a little bit of Maker's Mark and some ice. We're expecting
I
Lily.
had a sip.
Let's be honest.
I
have a little
already.
bit of Maker's Mark. Lily has a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Cheers, Lily.
So,
Cheers. Clink, clink.
So Brian, now pick your next bit.
Oh, that's a good one. Expectation.
Oh,
Expectations. Lily, Becky, you also came up with expectations.
I did.
All right, so why don't you explain expectations?
An expectation is when there is a show or perhaps a particular episode.
Lily's now claiming she
I
came
can't
up.
remember.
I mean, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give my explanation. If I don't explain it correctly, you can fix it.
Go right ahead.
I'm pretty sure we have a lot of games at this point. I'm pretty sure expectation is when you have either a show or a movie or an episode that you love and you think is totally awesome, and you go to share it with someone.
Okay.
And that kind of anxiety of the expectation of how will they react.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Hopefully it ends in an I told you show, which means that they bow down to you for being a genius for introducing them to this, content. But it could end in a showbarrassment, which means they think it's absolutely terrible, absurd, and they laugh in your face.
Yeah. So you actually don't need a topic for this one.
No, I also think it could be defined as when you yourself have so much expectations for a specific episode on TV that you're really excited for, which could end spectacularly, and it's a great ending the way you always wanted it, or it could be like what happened to, I guess, most of the world with Game of Thrones.
Except us,
except the three of us
We were
who
like
criticize
fine with
everything.
No, we were like, we're fine
I feel
with
like if you don't hate it, then it's a win-win.
I feel like there wasn't enough development to get to that point.
I'm okay with it.
But like technically, I'm fine with it. It just would have been better had they taken another whole season to get us there.
Agreed.
But to someone who literally has to watch 9 shows a week, I mean, there must be
How do you
certain
have time
weeks
for
where
other
you're- where
shows?
you're
I don't. It was why it became a challenge.
So
you're like, what's Game of Thrones?
What is a time where you have set high expectations for someone?
So it just has to be TV? Or?
No, it
no.
could be life, like your wedding day, whatever.
No, no. It can also be movies.
Okay.
And or music or
Well, I
anything
know
pop culture.
for a fact, Usual Suspects, despite the lead actor, who we don't get to talk about
We just
anymore,
won't,
We don't talk
who
about
shall not
But
be named.
yeah.
is still top 5 film for me all time. Love that movie.
Yeah.
And I remember showing it to a young lady that I was courting. Wow, I just said courting.
Courting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very. You're chivalrous.
That's
And I loved the movie. Absolutely loved
Brian.
it. And then it ended and she was done and she was like, yeah, I knew it was Kevin Spacey.
Whoa.
I was like, wait, when did you
Well,
know?
you
When
didn't
did you
know.
Oh,
You
sorry,
didn't.
spoiler alert. That is.
Sorry, guys. It is
sorry.
2019.
if you have not seen it,
He's
that is
also
on you.
like kind of going to jail.
Yeah,
like
so-
if you brought this on yourself.
If you haven't seen Usual Suspects,
That is
We'll say-
Was that like a
disappointing
nothing-
feeling.
changer in a
It
relationship?
was. Well, it was like, when did you know? She was like, they were on the boat.
Do you want to be
I
with
could
somebody
tell.
that smart?
Now-
Like that's
No,
scary.
I need to be kind of near her.
Yeah.
do you also suggest then that person then like go into like some sort of predictive gambling activity or
Yeah,
law
straight to the
enforcement,
casino.
right?
I was like, let's go right now.
like you knew that's who Kaiser Soze was, then perhaps maybe we can like get a consulting gig for you. And,
The FBI. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
And that's really and that's not a show embarrassment situation because that movie's excellent. It's just sort of like
It was a letdown.
that's a letdown.
Yeah, that's a serious
It's a great example
letdown.
though.
Thanks.
Should we
Real
play
life.
one of your games?
Now what I need is a Rex.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm feeling bad. No. Sure. All right. So whenever we interview a celeb of any type, which all 3 of you guys are,
I was gonna say.
Thank you. I'm famous in Canada. That's what I like to say.
we are. That's famous among Montreal Jews.
Oh, a little baby Groot.
There's a
It's
little
a
baby
baby
Groot just walked
Groot.
by.
Oh, baby
Hi,
Groot.
baby Groot.
Hi, Groot.
It's an awesome baby Groot.
very first thing we ask anybody when you come on, you're walking down the street, you look up and there's Harrison Ford. you immediately think to yourself, holy crap, there's Indiana Jones? Or do you
Regarding
think,
Henry.
holy, or do you think, holy cow, that's Han Solo?
You know,
Han
you know why
Solo.
we're related?
You know, so-
I go-
Regarding Henry was the thing that came into my head also.
Two of you, no, because as soon as you said Harrison Ford, you didn't have to finish the question. I went Han Solo.
Solo.
Like my
Han Solo?
heart skipped a beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir,
Lily?
It would be Han Solo.
For me,
Han Solo,
for
yeah.
me, for me, it's Han Solo.
into the mic.
Yes, just a fist away, please.
For me, it's Han Solo.
Do
Partially
I
because
like Indiana Jones better than the Han Solo character is a different story, but Han would come in.
For me, Han Solo, because Star Wars as a kid was easier to see first. I tried to show Raiders of the Lost Ark to my kids when they were really
face
little.
melting at the
Well, no, we didn't get to the face melting. We got to the guy getting the big spike through his neck in the opening bit. And to this day, my older child still brings up, if I mention Indiana Jones, she's like, you mean that one with that guy? And I don't know. So, but the other reason why is that, so we saw Star Wars first as kids, and I remember Mom showing me Indiana Jones later.
And you'd be like, what's Han Solo doing with a
No,
whip?
I didn't actually make the connection that they were the same person.
Which makes
And then
sense.
Mom, and her like classic mom, imagine her doing this. I remember watching with her and her cheering, going, "Go Han Solo!" And so I have this moment in my head of it clicking because Mom was showing me that Indiana Jones was Han Solo. So for me, it's always going to be Han Solo first.
You
Do you
see,
ever get
But-
people saying Indiana Jones?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah.
See, but it's because I sort of feel like, as far as how close a character is related to the real person that plays them, I kind of feel like Han Solo and Harrison Ford have more
that makes
crossover
sense.
in
Pilots.
attitude,
Yeah,
in
sure.
special
Pilots,
skills.
that's true.
In special, but like I sort of see them more as like one person,
Standoffish.
and Indiana Jones is really a character he plays.
Okay.
You know,
But you know,
Just-
he
That's a very good
likes
point.
Indy more as a character,
Yes.
and I would say I probably
Maybe
like
because-
Indy more as a character. Well, also Indy's the star, and Han Solo's a supporting character, and Harrison Ford, as far as I can tell, wants to be the. Wow, that's an amazing Venom costume.
scary ass
That's
Venom
That looks like it's
incredible.
homemade, too.
That is
incredible.
terrifying.
Wow.
That looks like it's gonna eat your
It looks
face.
sticky, like if you touch
Yeah.
it.
Oof. Anyways, I feel like Han Solo, he likes Indy because Indy is the star, and he seems like a guy who doesn't like to be a side piece.
Historian or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably asked close to 100 people.
And
Over a long
what
time.
would you say is the statistics?
Solo definitely won. We had one guy said American Graffiti. And
Oh,
he
wow,
was
okay, that's-
elderly. and
Nobody's-
straight said, we're
yeah.
like,
But I
buddy,
feel like
you
that
showed
person's
your age.
trying to be kind of cool. Because
He
I
was,
agree.
yeah.
I mean, yes, but come on, that's
Well, he also showed his age. He was older, so he referenced it there. We had some Blade Runners in there.
yeah, oh, yeah.
One guy said Fugitive.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Which is
If you
fine,
said
but-
Tommy Lee Jones.
No
I
one
might
said
say-
Air Force One? No? No Air Force
I
One?
think for a lot of people, Air Force One
That
is a
could be
big
it.
one for him.
Yeah.
For kids our age, for
It's-
sure, for
yeah.
our age group,
Whose parents didn't show them.
Star Wars, and they
Star
just
Wars
went to
and-
see Air Force One. Like, get off! Like, if you saw Han Solo, I would say, if you met Harrison Ford in person, I actually think that the thing I would ask him to say, just to irritate him, would be, "Can you say get off my plane?" Or I'm like, when you're flying your planes and someone's getting off the plane at the end of the ride, do you say get off my plane?
That's actually a great question. That we
great-
might have to evolve this. If you met Harrison Ford, what would you
What would be
ask?
your
I
one-liner?
would-
Snakes? Why's it got to be snakes?
Yeah.
You probably have to be Castle Run in 12 parsecs. Something to
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, for me it would be definitely be get off my plane. That's the one because I feel like it would really bother him, and he seems like someone I'd want to irritate. Because I don't think there's a way that if you he's
I
amazingly
think like Ryan
talented.
Gosling is the only one that like he likes to hang out with because I watched all those Blade Runner interviews and they just seem like super
Yeah.
He
buddies.
seems amazingly talented, but he does not like. I don't generally like meeting celebrities that I admire because I'm afraid it's not going to go well. In some
But you're,
cases,
like,
I can
guaranteed.
reasonably assume that maybe they'll be okay, so that's cool. But Harrison Ford, it's not going to be a good interaction, and then
Yeah.
it's going to haunt me forever. So,
Whereas, like, I feel like Mark Hamill, there's
my dream.
there's a pretty
Sure
great
you're
chance
gonna
he would
end up,
be
like,
generous
snuggling him and
and
bringing home with
So
you.
let's do kind of a classic question here. and I'll give my answers. Among the two most like famous people that you'd want to like sit down and have a meal with and talk with, for me, Mark Hamill and Frank Zappa are two of the people that I would most want
I
to
don't
meet.
think that's like a fair off-the-cuff question, but I'll do my best.
You don't sit around thinking about this all day. For me, I think about all day. I'm like, how much I want to be friends with Mark Hamill.
Mine is Shy from Friday Night Movie. Hanks and Spielberg for me.
Hanks and
Oh,
Hanks. See?
Because Hanks seems like he'd be so fun to hang out with.
It would be.
I'm like,
You want to go to like a carnival with him or
no,
something.
you'd want to go to a baseball game with him and
Baseball.
see if you could get him to say there's no crying in baseball.
Aw.
Very good point. And Spielberg.
But he would like buy you fun carnival food and play
Right
games
now
with
in
you.
my life, I just want to have drinks with Ali Wong.
Okay.
That's my goal. And maybe Shy get a beer with Jack Antonoff.
Oh, Jack Antonoff is like the
Bleachers?
celebrity that
Yeah.
I really want to be friends with. He's a musician
Yeah.
dude.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you asked the question, the first thing that popped in my head, like
Cheryl from Riverdale.
If I'm not even thinking, the first thing that pops in my head is Oprah.
Oh,
Like
wow.
Oprah,
Okay. That's
she's
classic.
so classic.
Or
she's
Connie
so
Britton.
huge.
Just ask her like what champion
What?
she
Just
uses.
have her do my hair, have her
Have her
wash
brush
my
my
hair,
hair,
and
let
then
me
brush
brush
it.
her
Oh
hair.
my god, I would brush
brush
hair
each
with
other's
Connie Britton
hair.
for
Her
hours.
Oprah of like this big icon segued you to
Connie Britton.
Tammy Taylor, I think for
Tammy
my wife.
Taylor.
Al, you know
Tammy
that
Taylor and Oprah.
Yeah, she-
Allie met Connie Britton
She said her hair's that good.
so there was some conference going on, and Connie Britton was going to speak at it, and she got like lost looking for the entrance.
Ellie's
and-
like, oh, help you.
And Allie's
knocking
like, hold on,
people
let's
out.
take a picture together. Now I'll tell you how to get in. And so my wife has a picture with Connie Britton.
wow.
And so yeah, Connie Britton, where is she? But what's she doing now?
She
always
was
She was on
She's
Nashville.
Dirty John.
Oh,
Dirty
is-
John.
which
what's
I
Dirty
highly
John?
recommend.
Was it good?
It's a real true story.
Is it a movie or a show?
And a
It was a
podcast. I'm listening to the
first.
podcast
Yeah.
right now.
The podcast is
That
great.
it became
So
like a
good.
mini
Binging
series,
that.
like a 8-part.
I do
or
feel
7-part.
it resonates with women more than men.
You think?
A little
Maybe,
bit.
yeah.
I mean, I got it. It was deep, but I know a
watched
lot
it
of
with my
women.
husband, who's
Okay.
very picky, and he enjoyed it. And he's super picky, and he just looked at me and he goes, after we finished the whole thing, he's like, "I guess you really don't know someone that well, ever." And I turned around and I was like, "I guess you don't." I'm gonna think on that. Like
Yeah.
it's psychologically a tough, ride, but he enjoyed it. But I can see what you're saying.
So that's a show you guys watch together. Brian, what's a show you and your wife watch together? What's a
Suits. Suits is our guilty pleasure show that we've watched
great.
from the beginning.
Are you continuing on after Meghan Markle has left the building?
We are, and I will say this on record, I was very anti Katherine Heigl.
I can hear that.
I thought she was
understand.
good.
Okay.
I liked her
good.
this season. I thought her character was good, and she did a solid job.
Good.
They have the final season starts in July.
I'm pleased to hear that. I got no beef with Katherine Heigl.
This character she fit well. She did a good job.
She
the
kinda
spin-off,
Yeah.
it's
Good,
typical
good.
Suits. Suits' writing is so bad because it really is. If you watch it, you'll see every character says the exact same phrases. They all say the exact same words to each other. Like no character has their individual speech patterns. They all have the exact same talk, and they cannot hand someone a piece of paper. Every time they want to give them a deposition or something, they're just like, boom. And the other character says, what is that? Instead of just like, here you go, sir, read this. Not a single
You
character.
can get dropped on a desk.
Everyone
and someone
needs
has
to be
pick it
They
briefed.
have
up.
to every single time. So we have a drinking game, my wife and I. Whenever someone drops papers, you have to say this.
That is so much
That's
fun.
amazing.
My wife, I
so
wish she
much
was here to
fun.
hear that. Okay, so Becky, what's a show you and Vlad watch together?
Oh, we right now we are super into watching Barry together on HBO.
Yes.
That is.
Where are you, season 2 yet?
We're season 2. We're probably about midway through season 2. That's a really special show. We only watch it together, and we save up. We save up the episodes and watch 2 or 3 at a
Did
time.
you get to the little girl episode yet?
No,
Okay.
not there.
I'll
So I
say-
think we've only
say
seen
no
the
more
first
words.
3 or 4. But it's and so we haven't seen each other in about a week. So I'm hoping when we see each other next week, we will catch
Cool.
up.
That's awesome. My wife and I are having a little bit of a hard time finding a show. Our show that we've been watching this
You don't
season.
watch Barry?
No, I didn't watch it with her. I watched it alone.
So good.
But we watched Billions. Billions has been our show this,
Oh, I was
this
just about
during
to,
this
I was-
period.
I was about to say that.
Billions is a big deal for us, and
Cool.
we caught up to it so much that we have to wait
I
to
don't
watch
want
the
to cut you off,
finale.
but Baby Groot grew up.
Whoa, Baby
my
Groot
goodness.
got huge.
That is the tallest Groot I've ever seen.
That's amazing,
That is a big Groot. We
guys.
just
Too
saw
bad
Baby
this is
Groot.
not a video.
This is
podcast.
great podcasting. You
There's
guys
a whole
listening should
crazy-
see this.
Well, we're gonna
everyone who
definitely
can't. I
get
feel
these
so
people
bad
to
for
circle back
everyone.
so that we can take Instagram pictures with them, and then you can just look on our feed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're
And you'll
gonna
know
be
this will be an audio-visual experience.
Yeah, because all these posts will then be on our feed. I'm definitely gonna have to accost big group.
all right,
in a
Brian.
second.
Yeah,
Pick another game, another bit, if you got time.
I do.
Showendipity.
Showendipity.
Oh.
Lily, you came up with this one.
When a show comes into your life, or movie, but I think it's really a show, maybe it's more long term.
Okay.
I think a movie could be applied, even a podcast, comes into your life at the exact right moment. And it's like serendipity, but showendipity. And you're like, oh my God, this was waiting for me. I needed to find this. I'll just go ahead and say that Catastrophe was that show for me.
Okay.
Like, what was happening that it was so
I
good?
was traveling back overseas. I was extremely jet lagged.
Oh.
I had a little baby. I was on no sleep. Felt like, I was in a foreign country because that's where I live. And the show is about two people, one who's Irish living in London, gets together with an American. Accidentally, they basically are thrown into a
Lily loves
relationship.
star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, I do.
If it
But-
was a star-crossed lover show about watching paint dry, Lily would be into it. But Catastrophe
if
is
the blue
terrific.
paint and the red paint shouldn't have been together, but then they dried next to each other. That's like my jam.
Okay.
So this show is really funny. It's raw. It's. I asked my mom if she was watching the other day, and she's like, "But the main character is such an asshole." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. Like it's great." And yeah, it just like really fit my mood. I needed something funny, short,
Okay.
but meaningful,
Okay.
and it got me through really like a bad
Right.
jet lag bout.
My showdipity was I was on bed rest during my first pregnancy,
Okay.
and I had to keep things kind of like chill and relaxed, and I had nothing to do all day, and then I discovered the Great British Baking Show.
Oh.
And that is, I literally spent weeks just watching it.
Wow.
It is, every episode I find thrilling.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So had a baby, just had her first pregnancy.
Do you need me to give you a showendipity
I
that's
need
going
to
on in my life?
I need to get pregnant.
Yeah, you need to have a kid to have a showdipity.
You got a couple.
I
Yeah,
had two.
there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. I've had a few showendipities.
Yeah,
but
during Mat Leave, Walking Dead, that was a weird one.
That's a weird one.
It was a weird one, yeah.
There's no scenario where that's ever going to be my showendipity.
It was so good because, again, you're just stuck at home and you can't do anything all day.
So you're just like sitting there
watching zombies.
building traps for zombies because you're getting increasingly scared.
Actually, after I finished Great British, then I started Walking Dead. So I still started when I was on bed rest, watched it all the way through until I went back to work. It was great.
I feel like, I have a bunch. I don't know if you have any.
I could relate one to having a kid.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a kid scenario,
No,
your
you're gonna come with
showdipity.
We were rocking out, my daughter and I, a lot of Sesame Street for a while, and it was getting a little old, and then Handy Manny came along, and Handy Manny is a phenomenal show.
Oh, really?
I don't know this show you speak of.
Really? Oh, Disney Channel, Handy Manny. It teaches Spanish at the same time.
Oh, Lily lives in Spain.
Manny is voiced by Wilder. Can't say his-
Valderrama.
There we go. And it's great. And his tools
Sorry.
talk and dance and sing in Spanish and English. They had a funny neighbor, Mr. Lopart, who had a cat, and he was a single old man. And then there was the girl, and my dad and I would watch it with my daughter when she was a baby. And then we would continue the series. Like, they would get together, but they never got together in the show, sadly. Manny and then the girl. But they should have written in a love interest.
But
Yeah.
that's a great showdipity because it's one that you shared with your kid.
Yeah.
And so that makes it, I feel like, even
More meaningful.
more meaningful, raising the stakes of how important it is to find that like sweet spot, right moment with the show. Yeah, because you're sharing it. It's
Actually,
great.
I was saying it to be silly, but it
It's
is
really
true.
sincere. Sorry.
Music's an easy one.
Hey,
Mike. Oh, we have
Celebrity guest
All-Star
Mike. Spin that wheel.
All-Star Comic-Con founder and
What'd you get?
Byron Meh.
I know all these things.
All right. Yeah. No, that's.
I'm not on the mic either. Hold on.
Oh no. You wanna come on, Mike
take two times.
Mike
Let's take
McNutt.
two.
Mike McNutt. You wanna do a little by renter man for us?
Sure, whatever.
All right. Okay. All right. You take the mic. Here, take my mic. Okay.
All right, here we go. Hey, everybody.
Mike McNutt, co-founder of All Star Comic Con, is
That's what the badge says.
gracing us with his presence.
No, you know what's awesome? For you folks watching on Channel 7, signed tank poster by C. Thomas Howell.
Amazing.
Shut up. I'm gonna walk away.
Amazing.
That's your
And
buy
then
of the day.
All right,
Greatest quote of all
so-
time. What? Go.
You got by renter man.
All right, what?
All right, let's talk C. Thomas Howell films.
Okay, I'm in.
Red Dawn, Lost Boys.
No, he's not in Lost Boys.
No, sorry,
Outsiders.
Outsiders. Sorry.
How dare you? Now, speaking of Lost Boys, we do have Tim Capello
Tim
over
Capello,
there,
the
who's
sex
going to be
slave.
performing this evening.
Exactly. So
Always plugging.
Always. C. Thomas Howell's Outsiders, Red Dawn, Tank.
Okay. What's
By
it?
Renter Man.
By Tank.
Yes.
Of course. Fantastic movie. Green lit on a mountain of cocaine. If you listen to the premise enough, you know it was. I didn't want to say that to him because I didn't know if he was involved in that part. So, but it had to have been. The fact that a kid is in a southern youth jail and has to be broken out by his father using a World War II M1 Abrams tank, and we all think that's okay. And there's a hooker involved. Is credible. And the hooker
in the
was
1980s.
Jenny Lee Harrison, who was former Miss Bruce Springsteen at one point, I think. She was on. She was Chrissy's replacement on Three's Company, but she played the hooker in the movie.
Oh, wow.
So just FYI.
All right.
But that's by Rent, Red Dawn. You gotta love Red Dawn. I watched Red Dawn when I was, I think, 10, 11 years old at a friend's house on HBO, and it scared the living hell out of me.
Scared the living hell of me, and I saw it as a teenager.
Yeah, when you're driving, I keep looking out the window looking for parachutes to come falling down. And I'm always thinking, what would I do? How fast could I drive west? I put all these scenarios into place. It's really very anxiety. A lot of anxious moments. And what's the last movie? Outsiders? Meh. You know what? I don't feel it. I don't feel the Outsiders. I don't.
That's an all-star cast. That's
It's
just
an all-star
too many
cast.
stars.
Great. It's great. No, but maybe the lack of black folk on it? I don't know.
Oh, that could also be it. I thought it also might be Tom Cruise's teeth.
That
They
too.
haven't been fixed
That
yet.
too, yeah. They're like all the right moves, Tom Cruise. It's like, you have potential, but
Right.
damn, your face is jacked up. But hey, I'm gonna let you guys go. Do your stuff. Take two. Friday night movies on a Saturday. It's all good. You know what? I didn't know what day it was.
Thank you, Mike
Very busy.
McNutt, co-founder of All Star
Thank
Comic Con.
you.
Thank you.
I got a lot of sleep last night.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good. Made up for it.
All right.
Okay.
That's good. All right, so we're back with Brian. This is great.
This is a whole episode.
This is
I've
a whole
taken up
episode.
Too much of your time.
Oh no. I think that's no question to me that one of these was going to be a whole episode, and if it's going to be one, it's going to be.
You
with
brought up
guys.
Temple of Doom earlier. My first ever dad joke, I remember it, was when watching Temple of Doom. I was only like 8. But I remember.
Like your dad telling you a dad
no,
joke.
my
No,
first
he-
ever
Oh,
dad joke.
your
Like,
own
I
dad
remember my
joke.
first ever dad joke, and I was about 8, 9, whenever I first watched Temple of Doom. When he reached in, pulled out the heart, and it was on fire, I was like, wow, talk about your heartburn. Yeah. I remember that. I was like, shit, that was my first
You were like, I
dad
gotta
joke.
save that for one day when
That's
I am a
hundred-
And I am a dad.
Yeah.
I remember watching Temple of Doom, but it was back when, remember, they used to have like the Monday night movie, and it would play on whatever the local station was, and they'd edit out all the bad parts and the curses. Now it's more prevalent, but you'd have like one movie a week, and whatever that movie was, I would tape it because it was a movie that otherwise I would not be able to watch the R-rated version or the PG. I guess it was PG-13 was invented for Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Okay.
That's how we ended up with a Pretty Woman on tape decades before I realized what a prostitute even wants. Not really addressed.
And
in-
Lock Up, a movie about like prison killing and fighting.
Yeah.
All these Commando we also
Yeah.
watched when we were like, I was 9 years
So
old.
you guys Skype normally when you record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you video it or you
Yeah,
just
he
audio?
keeps a lot of
Usually.
times.
We have a video, but we don't post the video because it's mostly like us looking at our phones and
And like,
like making the like
I-
wrap up sign at each other.
And me and Shai being like, why doesn't Becky mute? But Shai's recorded them, and like, so you have some of them, right?
Yeah, I have a bunch of them. There's sometimes we save them, sometimes we don't. The audio is kind of the key.
Ooh, that's very
That's
scary.
very scary.
That's super scary.
Oh wow, that's a serious red skull.
Female
That's
red
amazing.
skull.
That is beautiful.
What's up, buddy?
Oh wow, all
Look,
right.
it's from one of your shows, and that's a little Wonder Woman.
Oh my goodness. One of Brian's
This is
friends.
Brian Thomas. He had the Batman versus Bond podcast.
Oh, wow.
Hi.
Wow,
I'm
another
Lucy,
podcasting
baby.
legend. That's amazing.
He had a podcast, then his wife made him quit because they were having the baby. She said,
Yeah.
you need to quit
That's reasonable.
podcasting.
That's reasonable.
I understand. I support.
It's a lot of work.
I support.
It's a lot of
Look
work.
how sweet your little Wonder Woman is. How old is she?
Very cool.
Congratulations.
I'll go. We'll catch up. I want to talk about my costume.
What's that? See, there's so many things I don't know.
All right, well, how about we wrap up this episode of Friday Night
Oh, yeah.
Movie
Let me-
with
let me
Brian's...
ask something.
Oh,
With the Skyping, I'm sorry. Let me ask. Sometimes when we do in person, like we never even do video. Rarely. I want to get to that. But then when we do in person, and like we sit and we record like this, then like when we look into each other's eyes as close, it like freaks me out.
oh, it's awkward. It's awkward.
I think the first few times we ever did it in person, I found very disorienting. Like there wasn't the same rapport.
I actually think
for
we
me.
we do talk over each other less in person.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
I think is
Take the cues
because
better,
you can kind of feed off each other a little bit better that way.
But we also had the benefit of growing up in
the same house,
So,
so-
we have a in-person.
But I definitely
Again,
think in person's ideal. Like I'm jealous when people get to record in a fancy
Yeah.
studio all together.
Big
That's
time.
really fun.
Big time.
Yeah. No, I was just saying I prefer you two far away. It
Yeah,
works
you're
well for me.
more personal space.
All right, Brian,
Thank
before
you
we
so
head out,
much.
tell us everything everyone needs to know about Take Two Podcast, the spin-offs,
Okay.
the show, where to follow you. It's definitely one of the podcasts I religiously follow. I love it. You guys are so prepared. They're so well prepared. It's
That
I have a
is-
lot to learn. I have a lot to learn from that podcast.
That is a great compliment. I will take that part for sure. Take Two Podcast. Find us on all your feeds: Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, what have you. We do all of Hollywood news, TV, movie reviews, and then we give you our Take Two. We love talking about the box office. We love talking about anything new that's happening in Hollywood. Not really TMZ stuff, but like actual news, that they have going on. And then we do a lot of the comic booky things. We have segments towards that. Our regular show comes out Tuesdays. And then we have spin-offs. We have Spotlight. Tony and I do Spotlight, where we take a filmmaker of some kind, an actor and actress, break down their
I love
life and
those,
career.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Love the Spotlight
Send
episodes. I'm a
us
huge
who
fan
you
of
want
that.
us to do.
Oh, for sure.
We're recording one tomorrow live.
Oh wow.
While we're
How about
here.
who?
We're doing Bill Murray.
Are you gonna? Oh,
We'll be
wow.
doing Bill Murray tomorrow, so we'll have some choices because I actually am not as high on Bill Murray as America is, so it could get into some interesting conversation.
I don't know what it's called, but there's this documentary about Bill Murray, but it's Bill Murray's. He's in it, but he's not in it. It's
Yeah.
about everybody telling their stories, regular people telling their stories about their super weird, crazy interactions with Bill Murray and all these sort of like urban legends.
I will
of him.
say I am not into the myth of weird Bill Murray.
That's
like
exactly
some
what
of
the
his
film's
great
about.
performances, and there's a lot of stuff I'm just not into. But I'm not going to be held hostage by the myth of Bill
So
Murray.
it's a whole film just about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that.
Anyway.
Like I didn't want to watch his weird Christmas
I
special.
gotta tell you, I didn't watch the whole thing because I felt like 20 minutes was enough to totally get what the movie was about.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear like Bill Murray drove into my kid's birthday party with a golf cart, smoked a cigar, and then punched a clown, and then ran away and never saw him again. I feel like that is the story that everybody hears.
Isn't that famous story in New York of him going to play that ultimate frisbee in Central Park with a bunch of guys?
Well, like,
Yeah.
my favorite one is the one where a guy says he was just like at a bar in a bath. He went to the bathroom at a bar, and he's like peeing, and then I think he was like while he was peeing, some guy comes up from behind him where he was washing his hands and covers his eyes, and the guy gets like really freaked out, and he turns around and it's Bill Murray. Bill Murray just goes, "No one will ever believe you," and then leaves.
That's awesome.
Okay, that Bill
That's a
Murray
really
story I
good
buy. All right,
story.
everyone should stay tuned for the Spotlight episode
Yes.
of Take Two Podcast where they're going to talk about Bill Murray.
All right, we'll see.
And
We also have, I know you want me to mention it, we also have two guys who do a spin-off called Take Two Takedown, where they talk about wrestling. And
I love it.
Oh my
I
God.
can't get enough.
Shai has tried
My
to weave
show-
wrestling. Is there a WrestleCon that Shai can go to and
I'm sure.
own?
My show Indipity is all of the
God,
wrestling.
and no one ever wants to hear about it.
No one does.
Do you know,
Not on this
I was at
podcast.
Shai's house on Friday, and I had to do some work. We set up the booth in the morning, and then I had to go and do some work, and I'm on my computer, and he goes upstairs, whatever, and Becky walks by, and she's like, why in the world would Shai think instead of me going to take my exhausting nap that I need to take, would I want to go watch wrestling with him? And she walks away. About 10 minutes later, his wife comes down to the kitchen as I'm working and goes, for some reason, I'm just going to ask you, Shai wants to know if instead of working, you want to come upstairs and watch wrestling with him. I doubt it, but I'm just...
Showdown.
And I was like, oh man, I really have to, thank God, work, so no. It's very cute.
I did fall asleep during it and take a nap, though, for the record. All right, since this is practically a full episode of Friday Night Movie, let's all give our handles, because this might be released just on its own. Lily, where can people follow you?
Chi K Gomez on the Twitter.
Becky.
You need it. No, hang on. You need to say you're slower.
Oh, I do?
Uh-huh.
Oh, thank you.
Because one time I was on, I was like, what did she just say? And then I had to listen to another episode. So there are thousands of people that want to follow you, but you say too fast.
Oh, okay. I might need to use more Twitter, too. Chi Chi.
Got it.
Sounds
C-H-I,
like...
C-H-I.
Spelled like I think it sounds. C-H-I, C-H-I. K for the Corman. So Chi Chi K.
Got it.
And Gomez, because it's my husband's last name, and I just think Chi Chi Gomez sounds amazing.
Got it.
But
By the way,
it was already taken.
by a lot. There's a lot
so
of
I
Chi Chi
threw in the
Gomez
K
on
there.
All right, so I've been following the
very
wrong
tall
person
flash.
this whole time. Very wrong, but I will unfollow that lady and follow you now.
Amazing.
And I am at Paper BK Princess.
I like that you said it slow.
Nice and slow.
And, sir.
You can find the show at Take Two Podcast. Remember, it's TOO.
Yes, that's important to mention because there are a lot of sort of maybe similar names, but the TOO is how to find
people
yours.
that say it grammatically correct, but not us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And myself at Brian Stever. It's Brian with an I and STEVER.
And you can follow me at Pancake, the number 4 table, Pancake 4 table. And of course, all of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. Well, you got to dance now because the music from What Does It Eat?
This is a real episode.
Well, this is a real episode. Will come in. So the dancing is
I heard
happening.
a lot about the music today.
Yeah, I gave Brian the backstory on the
Nice.
music.
Why don't you give him one?
I gave him one.
I have.
All right, cool. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.
I'm singing the song in my head.
Wait, I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you. I love you.
We do say that. We do not hang up the phone without saying I love you in our family.
I figured as much. Yeah.
Even when it's awkward and you're at work and it's slightly embarrassing.
Yeah, like, love you, gotta go. Yeah, it's the way our family is.
I love it.
All right, bye.
Bye.